How many tools does a carpenter actually need? How many do we use? Hi, Len here. Over the next week or so, I'm going to try to use all my power tools for the various jobs I've got to do at the Addington units, and I'll also discuss some of the tools I could potentially use but haven't got. Let's get the radio on, eh? So our first job today is to carry on with the scotia. Ree and I started it yesterday. It's a bit like cutting that cord around in the stairwells I did a few videos back, where you need to think about the orientation. For this, I'm going to use my drop saw, which I bought about a month ago. This is going to be an open end of it, whereas that end's butting into a wall. So what I'm going to do is just cut a little return on that, so it looks like it wraps into the wall. I need to mark where the feet joiner is. I'm going to need my grinder for this. So we've got a flat disc on here. Let me have a wee think about what I want to do around that vent before I get too carried away. According to Google, one particular cover I looked at is 180mm wide. I'll cut out a bit more than that. The question is, what tool should I use? Could use the drop saw. Not the tidiest option. Sander. Probably get some flack for the state of the sandpaper. Sun's out, guns out. The glue is doing most of the holding, but I will pin it in place with my bradder. This is a 16 gauge bradder. In New Zealand, 16 gauge is called a bradder. You buy brads, which is 16 gauge. However, I know in the States, a 16 gauge is a finishing gun. Milwaukee is sold, I think, as a finishing gun, but it is the same nails as a Paslode bradder. I've kept that as well, so what I'm going to do now is ease a door that is catching on the floating floor that's just been installed. Quite a few different ways of doing this. I got a lot of flack on my last video for using a planer. There's nothing wrong in my opinion with using a planer. You just need to bear in mind that you need to come in from the ends, because otherwise you'll end up breaking that edge out. The ideal tool is a track saw, but I haven't got a track saw, so I'm going to do the next best thing, which is a circular saw and straight edge. Perfect. Good morning. So I've just been told that the carpet's going in a few days, so I need to put the sliders in for the wardrobe so that the carpet can be laid around there. Now the bottom is a bit trickier. You need to pack them level and flat. Put in some door hardware. I did the rest of the doors about a month ago before these got painted, but I didn't have any of the locks for the cavity sliders. So I've got to do it now. I don't really like chiseling on these. They bounce around and move around. You risk damaging the hardware. So I just use a router You do need to be very careful with a router though. If it kicks on you, you end up gouging it out and having to fill it. Should be right for chisel and strike blade in there, so you don't need to see the rest of that. Good morning. So I'm just finishing up in Unit 4 and I've spotted at the top of the stairs there's a little bit of a lip where the top of the stairs is sitting up slightly. It's probably because there's some glue or something underneath there left over from when that floor got cut out. If you don't know what I mean, I think my last video I showed how to do that. So, how am I going to fix it? Planer. Belt sander would probably work as well, but I haven't got one and Makita don't actually make a cordless belt sander yet. There's a patent for one though. I need to resharpen this chisel. Someone who shall remain nameless borrowed this and hit a nail. There you go, that looks a little bit ugly, but once that's covered in carpet, which I think is going to be tomorrow, that'll look mint. Good morning, I'm at the Richmond units putting some doors in and I spotted some frames that aren't bolted down properly. So the bolts are in there, but they're not tightened up. Now, I didn't think I'd get to use this tool, but I will. It's basically the only thing that I use it for. They are a 19. Don't know about these whole hog ring ones, or at least the way Makita do it. The elastic band and the pin, I don't know, a bit of mucking around. To be fair, you don't necessarily need an impact wrench for this. There are other ways of doing it, but impact wrench is a lot quicker. There you go, easy as that. There's a bit of blocking to be done. Most of it's already been done, but I've got a manhole to do there. It's a good chance to use my nail gun. Someone pointed out in my last video that my fan sounds a bit funny. Maybe it does. So I've ripped this timber down already and cut it to length. Happy. Oh yeah, pretty good already. Good morning, I'm back in Unit 4. Finally got confirmation of where the manhole is. We think it's up there. That's where it is according to plan. There. Something there. Gonna go back now. Timber. 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 Got it. Alright. special tool for cutting out plasterboard called a roto zip, I think. Maybe we call it something else here. I don't do enough cutting out jib to warrant getting one. Flashings for the oblique cladding that I've been banging on about for 2 months finally arrived yesterday, and I've put them on, so now I get to get out my other skilly and jigsaw and finish that cladding. Bulk of the cuts up there are done, so now we've got to cut around the head flashing, which I detailed a bit in the previous video. But in that video, I didn't have a jigsaw. Using a jigsaw for this is a lot cleaner and tidy. You don't get all that dust, you still get some, but it's the bigger stuff that doesn't float around in the air, so it's heaps better. Andrew's just finishing up now, and then we are finally done with the cladding. It's taken 2 months, believe it or not. Anyway, so I think I've used all my... No, wait. I've missed a couple of tools. Hold on. Nah, that's too small. If you're breaking out big concrete like that, you want something a bit bigger, which I haven't got. So really, I use this in the early framing stage when we're putting in bolts and handy bracks, screwing our windows down into the concrete, but after that, don't really touch it. Let's see if there's something I can demolish with this. Just kidding, don't be that guy. Right, so that is all my current power tools, apart from the few garden tools I've got at home. They don't count. Let me know in the comments what your favourite tool is, and if there's any tools that you would recommend that I haven't got. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in a couple of weeks. Cheers!